manage the expenses of living costs in these big cities, and with on top of college loans?
One thing about sort of elite schools in big cities is that they do have housing for you. And this housing tends to be, in general, priced somewhat similarly to housing at other universities. So like housing at Columbia is probably in the ballpark of the same cost of housing at like Yale, which is in a more rural area. Which is one of the really good things about going to school, is that it gives you a chance to try a new place and sort of have a little safety net there. But for me, I actually live off campus right now, which is something that a lot of BU students do. It's something that a lot of students in cities do. I mean, MIT students do it in Boston as well. Northeastern students always live off campus. And that's also a good opportunity to learn how to live on your own. And that can also be even cheaper, because one thing about university housing, even though it's sort of similar at all universities, it's invariably higher than living by yourself if you can handle living on a budget. So that's my advice. Is that's also not something to worry about when you're applying as housing costs. You should definitely worry about like how much aid you get from schools, because that's obviously really important. But I wouldn't worry about living in a city and the cost of living being slightly higher. I don't think that's really a big concern.
So I can really only speak to my experience at Columbia, but we have guaranteed housing for all 4 years. And we have like a campus in Upper Manhattan. It's different than a lot of other city schools. So we have like kind of an enclosed campus between 114th and 120th Street and between Broadway and Amsterdam. So 99% of people live on campus, and it's similar with what Andrew is saying. Like the cost, it used to be a lot cheaper than getting an apartment on the Upper West Side, but now, I mean, I don't know how much I should like speak to the current moment because you're all applying now, so I don't know what it'll look like in 2 years or next year, whatever. Right now, it's a lot cheaper to live off campus, but normally it is cheaper to live on campus, and Columbia generally has pretty good financial aid. In terms of like the cost of living, I definitely will say in New York, like it can be very expensive to live in New York. It can be expensive to go out to eat. It can be expensive if everyone you know is like going out all the time and you want to participate in that. But I will also say there are a lot of very, very affordable and free things to do in a city. You just have to look around. And in New York, or at Columbia, we get like free admission to almost every museum in Manhattan and Brooklyn. It's the same in a lot of city schools. They have partnerships with places. You can get like really cheap tickets to see stuff like theater, but also like music and dance and all this stuff. In a school or on their website, but like if they're in a city, like they're connected to the city and they want to like give you opportunities to connect with the city. So don't let that be like a barrier of entry for applying.